With 2025 now firmly in the rearview mirror and a full-on 2026 unraveling before us, it's the perfect moment to pause, reflect, and look back on the incredible and the honestly sometimes disappointing year of video games that was 2025. By nearly any measure, last year was a completely standout year for the industry. We saw a powerful mix of indie titles that consistently delivered experiences rivaling major studio releases alongside first-party games that pushed the boundaries of technological and narrative possibility. However, as with life itself, the universe always finds a way to balance the scales. Even a great year like 2025 wasn't immune to its share of missteps. There were those moments where massive AAA studios served up lackluster slop with price tags that would make even the greediest executive blush, and performance issues that severely damaged a game's reputation beyond repair. Just a quick clarification before we dive into this list, not every game I played in 2025 actually released in 2025. This is simply a retrospective of all the titles that made its way onto my monitor and my TV screen of last year. With that necessary bit of housekeeping well and truly out of the way, let's stop wasting time and kick things off with Avowed. To put it simply, Avowed wasted my fucking time. I've never played a AAA RPG that had so little going on that it physically put me to sleep in the middle of my live streams 3 times. Poorly written dialogue, bland characters, a combat model that's so bare bones that I wonder if the real intention of shoving this out to the public was not to cure TikTok brain rot. There's so much more too, but the absolute creme de la creme was the fucking price tag. 160 AUD. That is what I paid stupidly for the deluxe edition. And what did I get? Some clothes and a soundtrack. Wow. It's just a letdown too, from Obsidian, the makers of Fallout New Vegas, and more importantly for this video, Pillars of Eternity. Avowed takes place in that universe. Pillars of Eternity, one of the best CRPGs to grace our screens, now tainted. There's very little else I can say that's positive. In fact, the best thing about Avowed is that I stopped playing it. Persona 5 Phantom X. The only reason P5PX doesn't rank lower than Avowed is that it's free, despite the $35 I spent on a battle pass and resource packs at launch, which was completely voluntary. Persona 5 Phantom X takes one of my most beloved video game franchises and verbally and physically degrades it into everything that's stereotypically wrong with gacha games. Combined with a horrible content cycle, the over-reliance on side activities to fill the gap between seasons, and the incredibly expensive leveling makes for a soul-crushing experience. The only bright moment during my entire 33-hour playtime was the opening by Lynn, who never failed to lift my spirits. I couldn't even get invested in the story since it's just a reimagining of Persona 5, a baseball player instead of a volleyball champion, a chef replacing the artist. This should have been an easy win, but alas, it's easily one of the biggest fumbles of 2025. Yeah, look, I've been pretty negative so far, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. Any YouTuber who says they don't like being negative is blowing smoke up your ass. Luckily, this is where the negativity stops. Avowed and P5PX generally were terrible experiences to endure, but the remaining games on my 2025 list are all good, just some are better than others. Borderlands 2. So I finally managed to beat Borderlands 2, and it's exactly the game I expected it to be. Fun, fast-paced, and full of humor that would only be fun for high schoolers 20 years ago. The only reason Borderlands 2 doesn't rank higher on my list is because it's simply a product of its time. Unlike some classic RPGs that seem to age like fine wine, Borderlands 2 mission structure and drab open world grated on my eyes and the senses after prolonged exposure. Once again, we see those universal scales balance, and Borderlands 2 delivers gunplay that is still so much fucking fun to play in 2025 and beyond. It helped the series become synonymous with the very looter-shooter genre. While Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland have been relegated to the Shadow Realm, Borderlands 2 stands erect in the sunshine, hard against the test of time. Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. Questline's first title with a sizable budget after developing mostly smaller budget card battlers resulted in them coining the term Elder Souls, with a dark fantasy adventure taking heavy inspiration from the Elder Scrolls series with just a hint of Soulsborne to mold their combat system. If we're being completely real, the biggest negative about TGFA was the comparisons to Skyrim that many reviewers pushed before launch. It's incredibly unfair and gives a false positive on what players can expect. What does await you should you play for yourself, and I encourage you to do so, is a narrative-rich RPG with some really flexible buildcraft. Tied all together with a dark fantasy take on Arthurian legend and some well-timed humor here and there, and you certainly could do worse than play Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I fucking love Bleach, hands down my favorite Shonen Jump anime. I am proud to say that I loved it long before it took the world by storm. And Bros delivers exactly what I had hoped it would do, a game made for fans by devs who clearly are fans. There's an incredible amount of characters to experiment with, a great rotation of game modes, online PvP, and even some shallow but, accessible customization options. Bros is first and foremost a love letter to Bleach fans the world over, and it's just so much fun to play as your favorite character. Sure, the controls are janky, the animations need some work, and there certainly are some balancing issues, but you know what? Who the fuck cares? After a 16-year wait, I can finally play as my favorite waifu and kick some ass in 60 frames per second. Alright, we're rounding out our top 3 now, and to kick it off is Ghost of Yotei. Easily my most anticipated game of 2025, and equally my most disappointing experience of 2025. But nonetheless, still a great game. Goi suffers from the festering disease that plagues all Sony first-party sequels. The impossibility of improving upon perfection. Well, close enough anyway. Perfection's a dirty word, but name a modern-day Sony sequel that doesn't feel just like a 1.5 update. Goi's answers to justifying its existence is to add 4 new weapon types that need to be swapped in and out of combat instantly, a non-linear story, and a new island to explore set 300 years after the events of Tsushima. Goi does so many things right, but it just can't fill Tsushima's shoes. The biggest culprit is the narrative. Atsu's story is formulaic and honestly uninteresting, where Jin struggled with his identity and the honor of the samurai in his desperate fight to protect his home and its people. Atsu cares very little for her home or its inhabitants. Her only goal is revenge and is nothing less than a ruthless killing machine. It's criminal we don't get to play as young Atsu, learning the ropes or experiencing any of the battles that shaped her as an adult. Instead, we're told she's a badass, someone who can outshine every single soldier without trying. At least Jin was a trained samurai as an adult. Atsu is a mercenary who can download skills from the Matrix. Ezo is beautiful. I mean, it's stunning. Although finicky, combat flows so nicely once you're in that zen state. The voice acting is top tier with Japanese and English lip syncing. Watanabe mode is there for Samurai Champloo fans, and Takashi Miike mode is there for gory cinemaphiles. Goi is another love letter to Japan, Japanese history, and Japanese culture, even if it fails to live up to Tsushima's lofty highs. Look, I'm going to say it. Borderlands 4 is the best Far Cry game we've had since Far Cry 3. I really enjoyed Borderlands 4. The toned down humor, the gorgeous open world, the new tweaks to character buildcraft and combat mechanics, it all made for an experience that the franchise sorely needed. The proverbial shot in the arm. I really don't understand the negativity that surrounds this game other than the performance, which I was lucky enough to avoid at launch, only to go 2 weeks without playing because a patch that was designed to fix the game for most people fucking broke mine. Borderlands 4 offers a great villain, maybe the best the series has seen since Handsome Jack, and some of the best gunplay in the industry. All in all, I had a fantastic time. Borderlands 4 doesn't pretend like 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland never existed, mind you. It's taken all the criticism leveraged against both titles and produced one of the best looter shooters in recent years. Borderlands 4 is heavily discounted right now simply because players just aren't resonating with it, but I really enjoyed it, and if you are after a unique, well, it's not unique, it's fucking Borderlands, isn't it? It's fucking formulaic. But if you are after a new looter shooter to enjoy, honestly, you could do so much worse than Borderlands 4. It is a lot of fun. Give it a shot. Expedition 33, my Game of the Year. After a record-breaking night at the 2025 Game Awards, Expedition 33 is just as good as you've been told or heard. Stylish, thought-provoking, and swimming with charm, E33 has done more for the JRPG genre than some of the longest-running video game series out there. Now, don't let other YouTubers fool you. E33 deserved every award it was nominated for. I love this game. So much depth to the combat system. Every character feels distinct, and not just because they have a different weapon, but they play differently. You need to think and pay attention. I really hope the industry is paying attention. What Sandfall Studio accomplished with a fraction of the budget that some of these bigger studios spend in a month is simply incredible. All of this, mind you, in an era where Square Enix, one of the pioneers of the genre, has gone on record to say that turn-based JRPGs are dead and no one wants to play them. Expedition 33 was made with care and love. It's a love letter to the developers who came before and the genre that has been kept alive by a select few, at least in the West. If you haven't played Clair Obscur Expedition 33 yet, then please do yourself a favor. Go and play it. It is simply fantastic. An honorable mention goes to Path of Exile 2, which was fun in the beginning but slowly lost its luster. But hopefully when it releases into 1.0 sometime this year, it'll be just as fun as the original Path of Exile. But what a year it's been. Truly one of the best years for gamers in a long time. I think it's more than fair to say that 2025 belonged to indie studios. Whether you're a fan of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 or Blueprints, I think there's a lot out there right now for gamers of all walks of life. Well, that was it. That's my list for 2025, and who knows what 2026 is going to bring. What surprises await us around the corner? More than likely, another GTA 6 delay. Either way, thank you so much for joining. Honestly, I really appreciate it. It's been a while since I've uploaded. There's been a few things going on, from taking a holiday to my daughter getting sick, to me getting sick, to my partner getting sick, my daughter getting sick, then me getting sick, and rinse and repeat. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.